Microphone check. Welcome. Check yours.
Ring finger where the rock is. Did it work?
All right, so that's basically how we wanted to kick this off, is just a little rumor. And we've heard a lot of people talk because of my big mouth.
No.
No.
Never.
So even my attorney knows that I have a big mouth. So and it's just you would think it's harmless most of the time, but this time it hurt us just because I was trying to be courteous yet again, and that hurts me when I try to think with my heart only. Like, because as a member, like, what are we talking about, right? What are we talking about? We're talking about the fact that we had 3, almost 4 months left on our lease.
Yep.
And I decided to let the cat out of the bag early as a courtesy to my members, to have forewarning, little heads up that they could find a different place to train, and I was willing to help with that. And instead of people sticking around to the end, we found out that announcing leaving is detrimental in such a fickle industry, and there's nobody really to blame but myself for opening up my mouth. But the gym was actually doing fine. It was making money, and it was putting a little bit in my pocket every month, but it wasn't.
Well, it still definitely pays your bills.
Yeah, I think we're done with that. I think we're done with just making the bill. You know what I mean? Let me speak for myself. I'm done with that. I'm done with just barely making bills and putting a little bit in my pocket anymore, just because the amount of time and work and effort that goes into keeping a place like this open and paying a landlord and doing all those things, it's just, to me, it's just become a grind, and it's not fun anymore. And I housed everybody during COVID. That was nuts. I mean,
there's tons of people.
We could count. We could sit up here in this office and count 50 to 75 head of people in here at any time, all through 2020.
What was your favorite part of that? Like, what made you feel like in that time of COVID, you were like, oh my gosh, I love this?
I think it was just honestly like, because it really brought out the primal nature of humans, both men and women. Like they both realized how important physical fitness is and how important it is to keep that part of your life, alive. I mean, we found out real quick that on average, everybody in what do you call it? Imprisonment, whatever they call it. everybody that locked down in quarantine or whatever the hell, put on like 20-30 pounds in no time flat, and they realized that that's very depressing. That anyways, all those factors kind of played into forcing people through the doors, which proved to me yet again that there is absolutely a necessity for gyms and for what we do. But
I think the coolest part for me was, which I don't think a lot of you know, but when we moved to this location, the first thing that we did was we came in and Gabe turned on his favorite Christian song, which is,
I think it was it was one of the
you have a lot more favorite
well, there's
ones
King of My Heart, and then there was
I Can
God.
Only Imagine, I think is the one that you...
Is that what it was?
Yeah, that's the one you used to always play. But you came in and you turned that on when we found out we got the building, and then we prayed and touched the walls and did all those things. And one of the things that I specifically had prayed that this would be like a house for the hurting or for the sick or the broken. And I think it was so cool because that's like a really weird thing to pray for a gym, but I felt like that was kind of what God was like putting on my heart. And then through COVID, I think we've had so many amazing stories of, you can share even some of them, of people coming up to you and saying like, this is the only thing that's kept me sane. This is the only thing that's like helped me in this time when there's been, sickness or chaos or all those things. This was kind of the place for peace and that place for exactly that, right? A house for the broken or the sick.
I had lots of people, more than I can count, grown men, women, break down and cry and sob and tell me that they were ready to kill themselves, and they were literally ready to be done with life. And that was scary to hear another adult get on the phone, completely candid, completely raw.
But I think that's what kept you going, because obviously there's hard times with being a business owner, and then with the influx of people, there was hard things that happened. But I think that's probably what kept both of us going, right?
It's definitely the excitement of having 50 to 75 people in here all working together, and we virtually had almost no problems in here whatsoever. As far as, when I say problems, I mean as far as the interactions between people, we didn't have any altercations, we didn't have any, to the best of my knowledge.
That's because we have the best gym members.
That's right.
Woo woo!
We do have the best gym members. But, as soon as things started to open back up, we started to see everybody trickle and run away and, go back to whatever it was they were doing before, whatever gym they were at before.
But we also held a lot, I think.
That was my goal. My goal was I knew that if we stayed open during COVID, that we would harvest, everybody. And then what we would end up doing is harvesting through that bulk mass of people, we would net our core audience. I felt and I feel like we did that, but like I said, the gym's been doing great for a while. It's just, I personally, not to get on a negative, but I hate Washington with a passion. I always have. I don't even know how I ended up back here. I love a lot of people out here. I got a lot of attachments to a lot of people out here. But as far as the weather, let's just talk about what really bothers us, the weather.
We love the sunshine.
Yeah, we
there's
love the
something
sunshine.
About sunshine that just does it for us. We were talking about
Vitamin D.
weekend.
Vitamin D.
Last weekend we went to Cannon Beach and then we also visited O'Malley's, but just that drive in the sunshine was just so different. It was life-giving, and it's you want to roll the windows down. You always want to roll the windows down, let's be real, no matter what. But just that sunshine for sure. And then I think number 2, for me, is freedom. That's actually probably number 1, let's be real. But I think freedom is obviously really big for us too. And I think we've both felt a stirring for a really long time to leave.
Yeah, it hasn't been the right time, and we having a gym business like this with so much value that I carry with all this equipment. I've got well over $300,000 worth of equipment accumulated in this building that can't be moved easily. You know what I mean? And it takes a lot of money to move it. So every time that we consider doing something or going anywhere, we have to consider the gym, and moving the entire thing. So it's been a pretty big deal. And as I'm sure most of you can understand, or maybe some can relate, that moving in general is just not fun and it's a lot of work. But, we've just decided that we want to move to a different state. But in the meantime, what I had to do is I had to locate somebody that would be able to take over my lease here at this spot, because here at this spot, I'm actually contractually obligated to be here for another 2 years.
Yeah.
And I decided to go out and find somebody to take over the lease.
Well, it's actually pretty amazing how it worked, because
it was. You
were kind of at this place where we knew we wanted to move, but we knew at that point, I think we still had 3 years left almost, right?
Yes, we did, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And at that point, we just weren't able to, right? That wasn't even an option, really. So we're like, what are we going to do? Yeah. We can't pay, 24 months of rent just to break this contract. So the Lord really brought us, a couple that, do you want to kind of tell them about DQ and Jenna and what they do?
So basically just to kind of give everybody the full picture about what's going on. Yeah, the 411. We've made an agreement with my buddy DQ Evans, who went to church with me over at a church in Tacoma. And we made friends through them, counseled with him and his wife a couple times, just, marriage mentors, and just trying to get to know each other and stuff like that. Since then, DQ has become very involved and very, very busy with his side of business, as well as I have. I thought it would be best if I reached out through a channel, my brother, Josh, and asked Josh to kind of broker the deal, or ask the questions, and start dipping his toe in the pool and see if those guys needed an extra space, because I remember DQ came in here, just so you guys know, DQ Evans played for the Cincinnati Bengals in the NFL, so he's the real deal. If you guys are looking for, any kind of like football coaching advice, especially if you're a lineman, he's the guy to go to see. And that place will be here soon. May 1st is our deadline. But I met DQ and Jenna in church, asked my brother to get a hold of them and talk to them about possibly taking over our lease if they need a new space. DQ came in here several months ago, looked it over, fell in love with it. I could tell. I mean, he told me straight up, this place is awesome.
Well, it's perfect for football. I mean, there's the super high ceilings.
Just
all of it.
Yeah, 8,000 square feet. They're gonna remove the. It's unfortunate because
Gabe had to have it.
I had to have an entertainment room and a posing room. I mean, you got the mecca of
right
bodybuilding.
Before our wedding.
Right before our wedding. But they're going to have to end up tearing that all down and reuse the lumber for whatever they can to build out the rest of this upstairs up here. But, it was pretty cool the way that my brother got us in touch. And
it worked out for both of us.
Worked out great, yeah. Operations football manager Megan is actually the one that's helping us and do this deal and transfer the lease and get us out of here early so that we can go pursue our dreams in a different state where there's sunshine.
Where the green grass grows.
Yeah, where the green grass grows. Yeah, so actually it's kind of brown. I don't know where we're looking right now.
Well, we're looking at a few places.
So
we're going to keep that little mouth shut until we know.
Well, all the places we've been looking at are brown.
I think that's like my favorite thing about you, though, is that you get so excited about things. And so I know sometimes, like you talked about, you get yourself in trouble a little bit because you just can't contain the excitement, right? Is what I think it is. But
yeah, when you're doing something good, I'll speak for myself obviously, but I think when you feel like you're doing something good or you're making an advancement in life, like it's like you get a pop quiz, you get 100% on a pop quiz at school, you don't hide it from your parents.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? You show it to them and
You've worked really hard on. I know when you and I first started dating, like, it was hard for you to celebrate those small victories, right? Like, it was always like, well, no, I'm not here, and I'm not here. And I'm like, but you made progress. Like, you did this. And now I think you're finally at that spot where it's like, just so naturally, you're like, oh my gosh, I have to tell, everyone, which I think is probably why people have questions, right? About, like, what's going on, where are you guys going, what are you doing? So maybe, I guess we should say, to be announced for where we're actually going.
Oh, the final destination, we do not know. But
in the meantime, what are we kind of doing? What are we looking at? So now we've kind of let the cat out of the bag that come May, Gridiron is going to be moving in here. And I think we could both speak on that there's no greater company or partnership that we could, I would say, I guess, company that we partner with to move in here, because they're not only an amazing, skilled program, but they also love Jesus, which is super cool.
They do love Jesus, and they're professional, and I like they're honest, and it's actually, the whole thing has been actually a great pleasure, and Megan's been very helpful in more than just business, but also in our personal lives and giving us advice and stuff. She's a great attorney and a great person.
Yeah, DQ just as equally, right?
Absolutely,
just the way that
absolutely.
I think for me specifically, and talking about what we're going to do next, I think he's really inspired both of us, right? Because he focuses on kingdom work, right? Mm-hmm. Like getting these children to not just be confident in their abilities, but confident in who God created them to be, which I think is how we've kind of meshed our vision for, what we're going to do next, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and, to be honest with you, like, moving out of state, it might be a little bit more difficult starting over with not having all the direct plug contacts that you have. Like when you know what I mean? Like I've accumulated a web full of, great helpers and assistants, and the word travels, as you can tell. If I open my mouth about anything, the word travels. And it's a lot like the game of, like, what's that game where you start a circle of people and you tell them a secret in their ear? Telephone.
That used to be my favorite game.
So telephone is exactly what we're dealing with out here in Washington State. If I breathe a word about anything, it goes from, like, Gabe gave Kayla a piece of candy to, like, I don't know, Gabe jumped off a bridge because she gave him a candy. I don't know. It's like, it turns into this weird, convoluted,
Gabe stole Kayla's candy from Candyland.
Right, yeah. Like, it just turns into some weird crap. So we're just here to, like, get the record straight that we are moving the gym. And
so kind of tell them maybe a little bit about what our hope was that in May we would know where we were going.
Yeah,
and now that hasn't happened, right? Because the Lord hasn't really revealed. We feel like we have a few places that are super exciting, but right now we're just waiting for the right property because we aren't just looking for like a home in a neighborhood, right?
No.
Like we're looking for property.
This is specific.
So right now we're in this like hold pattern. So what are we kind of doing now?
Well, so now we have to shift gears, and because the hard deadline of May 1st was what was going to work for Megan. So I just agreed to it because I wanted out of this either way, and I figured if we scratch and claw hard enough and long enough, we should be able to find a place to stuff all this equipment, or maybe even use it temporarily until we get out of here. And that's exactly what we did. We found through lots of prayer, lots of stress, and giving that stress to God. I literally I felt like yesterday I told you this. I said I just feel like on the way to work I'm so tired of stressing, and it's literally not doing me any good. It makes me feel horrible to stress about what's next, and future tripping is what I call it.
Yeah.
So, with that being said, I prayed when I was in the truck and said to myself, I'm just going to give it all to God right now. I'm going to quit worrying, and it kind of feels like God's got His hands in this right now.
Well, I think that's what God brings us to, right? Is like this place of we could figure it out on our own, 100%. Like we could make anything work, and God's a gracious God that's going to take care of us either way. But I think we're at the place in our life where we want the Lord to move, because we want what's best, right? Yeah. So I think it's so cool that you're doing that because it's hard. I think especially as a man, right, being the protector, the provider, those things. To give up that control, but you're doing it. I'm so proud of you.
Yeah, well, I mean, and it's in the nature of my personality type, and being a bodybuilder, like to have control over all of my variables. Yeah. And when I don't have control of my variables, then I definitely feel like I'm out of control, and that causes and creates stress. So with that being said, like, I asked all my resources, my friends, and we finally came up with a space. It's in Lakewood.
Yep. And really close.
Very close to where we're at right now. So all of my members, they don't have to worry about finding another gym, at least, until we find a place to live, which, even if we do, it's not going to be anytime soon that we move.
Because right now we're looking at building is like what we feel like is our best option. So realistically, that's a 6-month, based on the builders and the people that we've talked to, that's like a 6-month process. So I think the most exciting part about that is that Washington summers are the best.
Okay, so no, that's the one redeeming quality that you and I most definitely agree upon is that, and most people would, is that Washington State in the summer is really hard to beat.
It is.
Like really hard to beat.
So amazing.
In fact, it's so hard to beat that we've already discussed buying a jet ski before we leave, so we have something to do for the summer because I sold my other 2 jet skis.
What were our jet skis' names? Do you remember?
Yeah, Zippity Doodah and...
Rippity Skippity, right? Was that what? Well, I used to at least say that, Rippity Skippity, but I don't know.
There's Zippity Doodah and...
What was the other one? I named mine like 4 different things. One time it was Forest.
No, we stuck.
Because I started with Forest to say run, Forest, run.
Yeah, because it was
having issues.
Yeah, it was having problems. I don't remember what she called it again, but Zippity Doodah was one of them, and then I don't remember what the other one was. But
I don't either.
They were a lot of fun.
Though. So fun.
We had a lot of fun, even after as many times as those damn things broke on us, and they're easy to fix, thank God. Yeah. But we broke those things many a times out on the lake, and I remember getting made fun of by the old man at the dock at Alder.
Did you?
Remember that crusty old man that's up there every time? He lives in the shack right there and charges people to park in his...
Oh, okay, yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? That guy? That guy was laughing at me. He goes, this place is bad luck for you. Because it was like the 3rd time we'd been to the lake and dumped those things in the lake and had to put them back on the trailer and leave because they didn't work. Or one of them didn't work.
Well, and then remember, I think the time he actually said that was the time I got really sick.
Oh, that's right.
When we had gone to the other lake. We went to, what was that lake called?
That was Alder still.
No, the lake where I got sick from in Lakewood.
American?
Yeah.
Oh.
That's where that... whatever it was,
I thought it came from Alder.
Algae, whatever. I think you dunked me in the water, like I fell off the jet ski or something, and then I got really sick, and so then we got out to Alder, and then that's when I was really sick, and they were finally working, because every single time something broke down. It was like if it wasn't one, it was the other, or it was both, or...
Yeah, no, that's a true story. So
remember the one time in American Lake where the jet ski, you lost the key, and it was like that rainstorm, and we had to get pulled back by that little boat.
We didn't get pulled back. I pulled you back.
Oh, did you? I don't remember.
Yeah,
That little boy was following us.
Yeah, these really nice neighbors on the lake. They were out there in their beautiful boat, and the dad saw us in trouble out there. And I had already had many conversations with him on the lake that day, so he sent his son out in their little dinghy boat to make sure we made it back to shore okay, because I was towing her ski with my ski, which my ski was on its face too. It was barely putting.
Yeah, but you had also lost the key, remember? Which is because you went up to jump. You lost your key. I had to come get you, but I'm obviously way lighter than you.
Okay, so we had to tow my ski back with your ski, and your ski was on its last leg and didn't want to run very well. So
and it was pouring down rain.
It was a storm in the middle
romantic.
In the middle of a lake.
So romantic.
Yeah, it was so romantic.
We didn't fight though.
No.
We did not fight.
No,
we
no
killed
fighting.
it.
We were both desperate to get off that lake and alive. So
that was fun. But so Washington summers are great, which I think works out for us.
Yeah, it does. Instance. I mean, as long as we have a jet ski or something to keep us busy during the summer, I'll be fine. If not, I'm going to go crazy. I can't.
This is a warning.
Yeah, it's a warning.
I've been warned.
Yeah.
I've been warned.
So, and really, jet skis aren't that expensive anymore. So
no, not bad.
You get a really.
So we're going to Lakewood.
Yeah. So Lakewood, as of now, the space. What I know about the space is that it's 2,500 square feet. There's a nice office in there with a bathroom.
There's a bay door, which I love.
Huge bay door, like we already have here, so we'll get plenty of fresh air. We will definitely hook up the music. And get it going like we have it going in here now.
What's your favorite song to work out to?
Depends on what we're doing. If we're squatting or deadlifting, it's AC/DC Thunderstruck, just like Stan Efferding. For some reason, him and I get really fired up on that. That's one thing that we have always agreed upon is when it's leg day or whatever, AC/DC's the jam. I'd say AC/DC, Metallica, anything of that nature, Pantera. That's my get fired up stuff. And then you're like, what? You listen to
Britney Spears.
You don't listen to Britney Spears.
No, it depends. I actually do like Britney Spears. Shout out Britney. Free Britney. She's already been freed.
Britney, she's freed.
She's freed. But I do like Britney Spears. But I think I just get in a certain mood. So if I want to lift heavy or something like that, I always want to listen to Lizzo or Megan Thee Stallion or something where I can flick my hair and
something ratchet and get after it. Yeah.
Get after it.
I don't know why, but it's such a habit that we listen to. And the lyrics are just atrocious.
Horrible.
Just
I know.
The worst. I wish there was a way to take like you said, Megan let's just use her for an example, Megan Thee Stallion, whatever. I wish there was a way to take her music, her beats, her everything, even her voice, and just alter the damn lyrics. The lyrics are just out of this world.
They need more or less explicit. You know, I could do the one with the E or the not.
Whatever happened to
Can we just roll it back?
Well, what happened to the days of Tupac? I'm not saying he was a saint in his lyrics, but at least he had something to say. He was chasing something better, and this just looks like flagrant just disobedience and bad words and
makes you kind of feel dirty.
Yeah, it's a conglomeration of gross. But I mean, you can't deny the fact that the music is catchy because of the beats and the sounds and everything that they put in there nowadays.
Oh, yeah.
They're using artificial intelligence to capture our senses of what makes the brain go ooh. So but it's no secret. I mean, they've been doing stuff like that, but yeah, there's no doubt that music sounds the best on our stereo. It sounds the best in my car, but unfortunately, it's got the worst lyrics I've ever heard in my life.
That's why I still stick with Britney.
Yeah, right. the clean cut, Saved by the Bell classic. Right.
Okay, so sorry, I got us sidetracked for a second. So we're moving to Lakewood for now until we move, and then
which is looking like when we land in Lakewood, we've got a maximum 6 months till we got to be out of there. As far as I'm concerned, that's the goal we're setting is 6 months or less, and then we're out.
Yeah, but, depending on. Yeah. I know we're talking to a builder this week, and then depending on if we decide to move forward with that one, then it would be 6 months from essentially that date is what they're saying. So, but it's not set in stone yet. So.
No, so to be continued on that. So just so you guys know, to run you up to speed, this gym started, 12 years ago on the other side of town at 108th and Pacific, where Tacoma Barbell is now. And we were there for almost 10 years. I think we were there 10 years. and because we started in 2010, we left in 2000, so we were there 9 years.
Yeah.
Because we left in 2019 or 20.
Yeah, July of 19, right?
Was it July of 19 or 20?
Yeah, 19. Because in 2021, we've been here 2.5 years.
Yeah.
Almost 3.
Yeah, so 19. So this July we will have been here 3 years. So we did 9 years over there. It just basically like the landlord over there was a scumbag. He wouldn't fix anything, which when I say fix anything, I mean I'm talking major stuff like gutters, roofing, drainage out in the parking lot, stuff like that. So the business got flooded. It got attacked by rats, like all kinds of crazy stuff. And he wasn't doing anything about it. Like he just loved the fact that we were, getting buried over there, and actually made me sign this contract that I wish I would have taken to my attorney. It was very stupid of me to sign. That basically said that he was going to spend X amount of money to refurbish the building because it was against code on and I could have sued his ass like up one side and down the other, had I done it right, and he knew that, and that's why he came up with this agreement and had me sign it. And in the clauses, it basically gave him the out to not fix anything until he felt like it. Mm-hmm. And so he just basically, would hassle me here and there, come into my building and hassle me about the music when we signed a no noise ordinance contract in an industrial park, which means you can make as much noise as you want. There's no restrictions on that. I mean, there's 800 horsepower engines running wide open in the back lot, and there's 30,000 pound steel beams being dropped back there. So it's not a quiet place to be, but yet this guy would come in after I'd already been there for 6-7 years and harass me about it. And I told him in my contract, that's why we're here, so don't bother me anymore. And my last day there, to get the record straight, I basically gave him a piece of my mind. I was very angry. I stood in between him and his Mercedes, and I broke him off, and I told him the way that everybody back there feels about him. He's a tyrant. He's a bad person. And then I let him go, but before I let him go, I told him to make sure that he put an eviction notice on my door because he's not getting another dime from me. Mm-hmm. And so he did just that, and
I think he gave you a month or something. And
he said he was going to give us a month, and I told him, to shove it, basically, because I was done with this guy. Just so you know, I don't tell everybody to shove it. This guy was going to get it.
I think that's what the notice had said, but it gave us time to find.
It gave us time to, to find a place, but I didn't need it. But
this was a blessing because it's.
It was because I'm glad I decided that I had enough that day. That was like my breaking point, and I told him to put the eviction notice on my door. I don't care what the stipulations are. We'll be out in less than 72 hours, and we did just that. I found a gym in less than 72 hours. I found a space. And with the help of about 15 people is what we started out with. Ended up with 7 or 8 at the end of the night. Mm-hmm. But we got everything in this gym in less than 12 hours. And then picked up the rest of the scraps and whatever in the next 2 days that we had.
So what are you thinking for...
That was July 1st.
What are you thinking for once we get to where we're going? So one of the things that we're thinking that you kind of started out with is that it doesn't make sense anymore to pay like a landlord for something, a building that's much more expensive than obviously we need to be paying. So
right.
Do you want to kind of tell them about what we're thinking about as far as buying property, and then maybe just like little details about the gym, like little sprinkles, not the whole cake.
Yeah, so basically like the skinny of it is we want to have enough land to have at least another 6,000 square foot building on it.
Yeah.
The building that we are in right now that you guys are familiar with is 8,000 square feet. So it'll be 2,000 square feet smaller. But we're also going to build a living quarters up in there. It'll be mostly gym, and then we'll also have room for my toys. Like, I have every intention of having my race car, of owning a Shelby very soon. And also, we want to build a rock bouncer.
I really want a gator boat, or whatever those things are called, the airboat.
The airboat.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll do an airboat
to catch gators.
Sure. To catch gators and catfish.
Yep. And we're gonna have a cow.
We're gonna have a cow.
Hold them to it. You've been warned.
I won't be. There's no gators in Oklahoma.
We don't know if that's where we're going.
Or anywhere else. Oklahoma. Where else have we looked?
There's gators in
Nebraska.
Georgia.
I know there's none in Nebraska.
Florida. There's gators.
There's gators in Florida.
In Georgia and Alabama. Like
sure.
Everywhere in the South. Louisiana. I don't know about Louisiana, but there's got to be.
I know there's not in Arizona either.
Yeah. Well, you never know. I mean,
we've looked in a lot of places. We've searched Nebraska, Oklahoma, Iowa, These are all realistic searches. Like we're really searching. So, my home is Nebraska, and then Iowa was like sacrilege to me. I couldn't stomach living in that.
They had such beautiful houses.
They did have beautiful houses.
Iowa had gorgeous houses. But anyways,
but to have
so
Iowa
back to
on my
gator
license would not be okay. Go ahead.
We want to get a gator boat too.
Gator boat, yeah. Airboat, yeah.
Yep.
Airboat, yeah.
Catching gators.
Yep.
But so our goal is to buy property with a home already on it, or build the home, depending on obviously the property, and then we'll also have included on that, we'll have a gym built, a steel structured gym that then we can kind of maybe tell them. You said something about like housing or whatever you were kind of thinking in regards to
so
that.
the living space upstairs, we wanted to build a very posh, very nice living quarters to have guests out. Anybody that wants to come out and tackle their body transformation and learn how to implement nutrition training in with your daily schedule and your work schedule, like that's exactly what we're trying to do. My wife is most definitely the spiritual leader when it comes to like talking Jesus and what's the word, is it mentoring or discipleship? I basically my wife wants to be an integral part of this, like for anybody that comes out to visit with us to know that they're loved by Jesus, and that we welcome people that are believers obviously and non-believers, but to be of good influence. None of this, I'm not talking about cramming anything down anybody's throat. We've never done that, but we do want to be an open book and
just even
a vessel for God to use, to get to these people and make a difference. Because honestly, like what it all comes down to when it comes to making a physical change with your body, it all starts in the head. It all starts with your mental, and if your mental's not right, your physical's never going to match it. So, you got to get your brain right, you got to get your heart right, and once you're set there, then it's easier to tackle. I take it from me. I did 20 some years of bodybuilding competitively for 15 of that, 16 of that, and if my mind was off, my body was off. Like no doubt about it. Like even if food was perfect, training was perfect, if my brain was off, my body would kind of reflect that.
Can we just talk about your last prep and how much fun it was?
Last prep was a lot of fun.
It was
actually
tough at first, I think for me, getting used to what does prep actually look like, right? Because you anticipate, but you don't really know what it's like. So it was a little tough at first, because I think it was a really big opportunity for you and I to learn how to trust each other in new ways, right? For both of us, right? Because you've had different experiences, I've had different experiences in life, and so it was a whole new level of trust for both of us. But those last 2 to 4 weeks.
Yeah, the last 2 to 4 weeks are usually pretty.
Be still my heart.
They're pretty somber for me. Like if I was living by myself, like it'd be very silent. Everything I would do, I kind of walk in silence. In years past, in relationships in past, it's always been like the last 4 to 6 weeks has always been very crucial in the sense of like very crucial and very volatile at the same time.
Yeah.
Like you can get thrown off your horse real quick if you're not focused and if your partner's not focused with you. So yes, I've had a lot of betrayal in my past. I've had a lot of lying and deceit and a bunch of bad stuff happen. Made a lot of bad choices in people that I was hanging out with, that I was committed to, the whole nine. So it was inevitable that something bad was going to come of that eventually. But fast forward to our prep, our only prep that we ever did together, and I say we because it is a team thing. It takes both of us to get this done, to do a show. I think any bodybuilder out there will know, or will attest to this, that if you're not doing it by yourself, you still have people around you helping get stuff done. Meaning, if you don't have a significant other, or wife, or husband, or whatever, there's always going to be people around to help, and it takes a team to get it done. There's just too much to do. Even just for one person. It sounds weird, but prepping for something like that, that's basically, I've always called it the equivalent to a space shuttle launch, because like you have to check every box and make sure everything is perfect and recreate it every day.
And you can't always be quiet.
Yeah, you can't always be quiet.
If you're married to me.
Right. So I don't know. I mean, you could probably speak better on how I acted during the last 4 weeks, but I just felt like, because my energy was so low and because I was so, you feel weak and
depleted
and frail during those last 4 weeks. So I really kind of turned inward, to her, and a lot of those times because we've done many a time where we've been sick together, like laying in bed, puking in buckets, sharing puke buckets, gross. But we've
TMI.
Whatever, it is what it is. We've been through some pretty gnarly stuff together already. But I think that prepped us for that too, honestly. But I know you said I was amazing during the last. Hold on, let's go. Amazing. I didn't. Well, don't use that word. I was not needy. I was just.
No, but I love that. I live for that. Like
I wasn't
for me,
needy.
You guys, he was needy. Okay, but I live for that because I am just a nurturer by nature. I think everyone that knows me probably knows that.
I leaned into you. I've never done that before. Like in that sense, in my past, I've never had somebody that I felt. Let's put it like that way. I've never felt as comfortable. As I do with you to lean into you and be received instead of being.
Well, and we just had so many snuggle parties, and I feel like that's like so fun. If I could have Gabe do prep once a month, or every other month,
What, the last 4 weeks?
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Let's just make you suffer every other month.
Yeah, no thanks. No thanks.
My snuggle bucket would be like so full.
I'm sure.
No, we still snuggle a lot, but I think that was it was so fun. Actually, I think for both of us, I think we grew a lot. I think that being able to be there for you as you chose to be vulnerable, right? And press in rather than turn outward or just want to be, silent and in your little silent box. I mean, I thought I did a pretty good job of letting you be quiet.
You did.
Yeah, for most. That's a struggle for me.
You did a great job. Well, because I know.
Because I'm a cheerleader, so by heart. So I think that's a big difference between Gabe and I. Gabe's good at just being I think guys in general, right? Da, 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 just kind of quiet, and I'm like, babe, good morning. How was your day? I love you.
Yeah. Well, and then because of your cheerleader nature, and you're just a positively charged person, you're more of a morning person than I've ever been.
Yeah.
Even if you don't think you are, you are.
You like to wake up earlier, but I wake up way
I
happier.
wake up earlier so I can get my silence and my food. That's why I get up early.
The truth is revealed.
I get up for silence.
No longer a rumor.
I can pray. I can watch Steven. I can eat.
And then I
shout
wake
out
up.
Steven for yeah. And then you wake up.
Good morning.
After the sun's already been up for an hour and the day's half over. No, I'm kidding. You have to start work too.
Yeah. But anyways, so we're thinking about kind of having a gym, obviously, but then the other side of it is kind of having a place that people can kind of retreat to learn.
Yeah, and I think I want to make this very bold. This is never. I don't want to say never, but at least on this property that we're gonna have.
Yeah.
There will never be an open gym, public.
Public gym, yeah.
Never again.
So you're still gonna have members.
I'll still have members, but they're gonna be private. They'll be trained by me. Nobody will touch my equipment without my permission and instruction. I've had so many things broken, just through wear and tear, and then just disrespectful people, like any gym. I mean, it's gonna happen, but that's what I'm saying. I don't want to have to say that, like any gym, ever again. Mm-hmm. It's like.
Well, and I think you just want the feel to be different, right?
I do. I want a different feel, 100%. Yeah. 100%.
Well, and you're passionate about training people. You are passionate about. One thing I can say just from the outside looking in, right, I guess it's more the inside looking even inner of your heart, is that your passion is helping people. You're very passionate about making sure that people actually have lifestyle changes. You don't want the paycheck. It's not like you're just let me take your money and run, buy. You actually invest your heart into
Well, that's because I
people.
understand the long-term bag. The long-term game is if they have if said client has a good experience with me, they're going to walk around somewhere down the lane of life, and they're going to tell more people how they got there, and that's going to get me return business, right? I don't need to get a quick payout, short-term, bag snatch. I don't want that. That's I call that MC fly-by night. All you E40 fans know what I'm talking about. You're here today, gone tomorrow, because you don't understand the position of the long-term bag and what that means. And long-term, I want to set a precedence. I want to set, like she said, I'm passionate. So a lot of the times, my emotions will get involved when they're not supposed to, as far as I'm concerned. But part of me says that's BS because.
No, you always want to have your.
I know that, but I'm just saying when you're in the corporate world, let me restructure that. So like in the corporate world, you can't really have a soul or care because the only thing they care about is your last day and how much you produced. It's not a joke. Like, you're only as good as your last day, and everybody's expendable.
Corporate gym world.
That's what I said.
Okay.
Yeah,
Corporate gym.
Yeah. Yeah, so in the corporate gym world, you're only as good as your last day, and sale, and it's their paycheck versus yours, and I never wanted to play that game ever again.
No.
Like, I never want to sell anybody anything. I would hope that people would come to me with their goals, with their work gloves on, you know, ready to get dirty and get after it. Like, I don't want people that I have to drag through the mud. If you're not a motivated person, don't call me. Simple. I don't want to work with you. I'm passionate. I 100% believe that anybody can do it. But they have to believe the same in themselves or it's never going to happen. You know, so.
Yeah. I was going to say, if you're not a motivated person, call me because I'll cheer for you.
Yeah, Caleb will cheer for you. You can get cheerleaders all you want. Nothing helps until your mind's made
There's
up.
no wooing and cheerleading, by the way.
Isn't? No wooing?
No, you can't woo.
Now I know. I'll stop the wooing if I would. I don't know if I would. But yeah, no, I really focus on long-term results. I mean, I just had a buddy of mine and a former client named Brian Freshman call in to one of my Zoom calls 2 weeks ago with all my gentlemen, all my Death to Dad Bods contestants were online, and he literally just gave a quick little, testimony to my passion and dedication to him as a client when he was my client.
Yeah.
And he actually was such a dedicated client and such a consistent person when it came to nutrition, the gym, everything. I mean, the guy was there 15 minutes early, didn't have to do any of this, by the way. I'm just going to tell you anyways. He would show up 15 to 20 minutes early to our workouts every day after he got off work and have my pre-workout ready and his at the front desk so that when I got done with my last client and it was time for us to train, that I didn't have to scramble to find my pre-workout stuff. And then, I mean, that's just one thing that I just remember that was just so, I mean, it sounds simple, but man, is it thoughtful.
Yeah,
And it makes an extremely huge difference, like in somebody's character and the way that I view them, when they show up consistently like that and show as equal as much, dedication and passion as I'm putting into them. I've always told people I'm very much a chameleon trainer. A chameleon trainer is somebody who will change their colors to fit the environment, right? I've really tried to do that a lot. I have found that more and more so nowadays, like I'm not very good at working with women because they're very emotional creatures and I just very much robotic, and I expect my clients to just execute when they're given instructions. I mean, after all, you came to me for the instructions. So when things aren't followed or aren't pushed through, I have a really hard time navigating through the emotional responses that women have towards some of this stuff, and I think it's best if I just stay out of that arena and just train guys only.
Well, and I think realizing your own, right, it's not you in this moment like bashing women like, oh, you're emotional and I just can't stand you, right? It's you recognizing your strengths, that for you.
Well, and Gary V says quadruple down on your strengths.
Yeah, and your strength
right?
is men.
And delegate those weaknesses to other people. So the women, if my wife ever quits working in the medical insurance brokerage industry, I'll take her under my arm, continually tutor her. I'm tutoring you now.
I thought you were going to say toodle.
Toodlish. I'm tutoring her now, mentoring her now, so that if you ever do quit the medical insurance broker, that you would be able to come in and do exactly what I do, but for the girls, for the women.
Yeah. Well, I did train my sister-in-law one time, and
yes, you did.
I nailed it. Shout out to Jules for my first client.
Jules Moen got a taste of Miss Kayla Moen's teachings. That's good.
AKA Gabe's teachings, let's
right,
be real, because
right.
she got me.
Yeah, so that's another thing too. Is if you were able to take the girls, and I always take the guys. I think that would be pretty. I think that would be a successful venture. I know there's lots of people that contact you on Instagram, social media, asking you if you train people or if you would. So, obviously, there's people out there that are curious about it and are interested. So, I mean, we might be able to capitalize on that once we have our own setup at our home, and you've got, access to both, an office and a gym. So maybe we'll be able to do both and pick up some weekend clients for you or something like that. But
weekend warriors.
see, this is how things happen. We just sit here and we spitball back and forth to each other, and then I'm the one that's always crazy enough to make the first jump. I really.
You do.
Yeah.
It's amazing quality.
Yeah, that's what Gary talks about a lot. Gary Vee is like, if you have to ask if you're an entrepreneur, the answer is no, you're not. Like, because I know without a shadow of a doubt that I'm a great entrepreneur, and I've been doing it for years.
Yeah.
And everything I have, I've earned. Nobody gave me anything, and Stan Efferding made sure that I knew that before he left. 10 years ago or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Because I ended up purchasing this gym from Stan. I earned 50% sweat equity in this place in the first 18 months of working the management for Stan, over 10 or 11 years ago. And we're still in it today. And supposedly you're not really in business or considered successful in business unless you've been in business over 7 years, they say. So here we are at the 12-year marker, and we're at the 12-year marker, and I'm ready to bow out and go do something new.
Well, you're not bowing out, though, of the gym industry.
No, I mean just out of the Washington area and out of, I've done what I can do here. I've done what I can do. I'm surrounded by corporate gyms. I'm the only real gym. Like, everything else around here is a fitness center where people go to, socialize, as far as I'm concerned. It's a social club to go to an LA Fitness or what do they call it now, a Sporta or whatever.
Yeah.
But these big box gyms are just
It's just a different feel.
totally different feel, corporate.
Some people like it,
They're very selective about their demographics and where they plop those gyms. So I know it's ultimately more convenient for even more people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think my favorite thing about corporate gyms is Zumba. So maybe we can do a GStandard Zumba.
You can do whatever you want once we get there.
No, those are just, different gyms for different people. You have different goals, whether it's you just want to do Zumba and shake your booty, or, you want to actually show up and just get down and dirty with it, if you will. One other thing I wanted to ask you about, because you talked about dads or Death to Dad Bod. Can you give us kind of an update on that?
Yeah, so Death to Dad Bods is still going on. We're in our last 6 weeks.
Can we talk about the name, though? Like, how cool is that name?
Death to Dad Bods?
Yes.
I think it's a great name. Did you come up with that?
Well, you were talking about dad bods, and you're like, there's just this, I think you and I were both talking about, like, just the revolution of, like, this, I just love the dad bod.
Says no one ever.
No, people do.
No, I know, it's disgusting, but it's a cop-out because we already know why.
Because, I mean, come on, look at these biceps. That is not a dad bicep.
Go on.
Okay, and they're firm, and they're
No, not that.
I'm teasing.
I don't need any more of that.
I'm teasing. But, so we started talking about dad bods, and you were kind of talking about wanting to do a program specifically for men. Didn't have to be dads, but just talking about no longer, settling for mediocre is really what it is, I think. And so we were just talking about it, and then I think we were trying to come up with names. We're like, dad bod this, dad bod that. And I was like, what about Death to Dad Bods? And it just stuck. We just loved it.
Yeah,
it's so good.
She spit it out right when I was saying Dad Bods. She goes, Death to Dad Bods. And I went, yeah, Death to Dad Bods. That's how that was born. In the truck.
That was fun.
In the truck on the way here.
But so tell us a little bit about it.
So we've got 5 guys entered. We've got Jason Barr. We've got Christian Berger. We've got Lewis Littleton.
Jeremy.
We've got Jeremy Sykes. And we've got Rick. What's Rick's last name again?
Eichert?
Eichert, that's right. I'm sorry. Rick Eichert, yeah. He's the homie.
But tell us about what does the actual program look like? Like, what, if I signed up, if I was a man, and I signed up for Death to Dad Bods, what is it?
Basically, it's a 90-day challenge, and we try to lose as much body fat as possible and gain as much lean muscle tissue as possible. That's it.
But what makes it different? Like, when I sign up, do I get a meal plan? Do I get training?
Well, the whole breakdown is basically when you come to me and sign up, it's a $1,500 buy-in, and the reason for that is because you're getting a full meal plan that's not only designed custom for you, but it's also kept updated regularly because as your body changes, so should your nutrition. If anybody ever comes up to you and hands you a plan and says, follow this for the next 3 to 6 months, run. like it's a scam, totally, because our bodies, that's not the way our bodies work. Our bodies are very intuitive. They change on the fly. You have to be instinctive. You have to know and understand the metabolism, the algorithms of a metabolism, and the different types of metabolisms, and how to combat, when you see, weight or whatever doing whatever it does. Like, my whole job is to keep these guys accountable, consistent, and honestly, just like doing the same things over and over and over every day. Like, I know it sounds mundane and whatever, but honestly, the consistency is what helps these guys succeed. So what I do is I provide them with the first week of their training. I take them 4 days a week.
Yeah.
I go Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, and I train them through an entire full body split.
Yep.
Then they
get
get
pace for intensity.
That's right. I'm setting the pace for intensity, what I expect for turnaround time between sets, rep ranges, like all that stuff. I set it all so that you guys know what I expect out on the floor. And then what we do is, after doing a full week of evaluation, I take a look at your weak points and we work on those moving forward. So we go from training 4 days a week to 2 days a week. And I just pick your weaknesses and we work on those 2 days.
And then the other days they get the training split, because
Right.
you have a custom plan for them.
Right. So then what I do is I send out, like, let's say, like, on the days that they're not able to work with me, or let's say you're online and you're not ever allowed, you're never able to come work with me physically on the floor. For those people, I have created Death to Dad Bod series of videos explaining execution, proper form for every exercise that I've asked to be executed on the program.
Yeah,
So,
and they get that training split, and then you haven't had any specifically for this Death to Dad Bod challenge. You've trained people online.
yeah, because they've been right here, hometown, and they've been inside the gym. So you're right. Like, I
But
haven't.
you will be, like, there's no reason why you can't. And then with that, I think the cool thing is that we've talked about, you're going to have them, like, video themselves in the gym. Actually, you do have someone right now. You have
Jason Sykes.
Yeah,
Jeremy's
Jason
brother.
Sykes.
Yeah.
And so the cool thing is he's actually in a different country. How cool.
He's over in the.
Dominican,
Yeah,
right?
right,
Yeah. He's doing, like, mission work or something, which is so amazing. But you have him, like, get to video some of his, workouts, and so that you can kind of see, because you don't get to be there face to face with him and get to tell him, like, hey, nope, I need you to do this, or yep, great job, love the intensity. So it doesn't matter really where they're at, but
No, because I can send that out to anybody if they're working online and show you how to execute and all that stuff. But then what really helps is being able to see, an example. A lot of people, like, they get out and they see a tricep exercise maybe performed on YouTube, or they see somebody in the gym do it, they go over and try to copycat it. I actually break down the movement and tell you exactly, like, why I'm doing what I'm doing: hand placement, foot placement, breathing, shins open, shoulders down, thoracic spine. I go through, like, all those reasons as to why I'm doing what I'm doing in these videos. So you get a training packet, video packet, basically, that's all on YouTube. I'll send you a private link to all your workouts. You have constant communication with me for your custom nutrition program. Daily check-ins with me with your weight, which means you're going to have to be dedicated above and beyond probably most any trainer that I've ever worked with, other than the best of the best, like Chris Aceto and Justin Compton, guys like that. They require, just like I do, for you to send in your weight every morning and every night. And the reason for that is to obviously see, the weight fluctuation and fluid retention that we're carrying throughout the day, and then also to get a consistent, constant for every morning. And the dry weight is the weight that I work on. So anything that I design different is going to be done by pictures visually and weight, and the combination of the two, with a third component being communication.
And then the thing I think that's my favorite part about it is you do these weekly check-ins on Saturday with all the guys. So it's not like it's me and my coach, right? You get to actually bring the guys together for everything that every guy loves to do, which is talk, right? I mean, guys just love to talk. But no, I'm just teasing. But collaboration, right? You get to collaborate. So you always bring up different things. So I know one of your first topics was, like, consistency, and you talked about what does consistency look like, and then you ask the guys questions about what makes it easy to be consistent versus what makes it hard. What are you having trouble with? And I think it's just really cool because it develops this kind of community where guys can really, number one, just talk about like life, right? It's not like you're going to talk about it like a girl would, but talk about life, but then also get to hear other people so you know you're not alone, where I think sometimes when it's just me and my coach, I might feel like, man, I'm out here, you know, suffering. No one else seems to suffer with this, which realistically they do.
They absolutely do, and I think that you brought up a great point. Is like the accountability factor, and it works the same. Not only group reflection on the week, but group training as well.
Yeah.
Like I think group training is far more beneficial than training individually. I've seen the benefits of it myself. The best workouts I've ever had, I've had training partners or trainers working with me and pushing me past the point that I know that I could have never went by myself. So it's the same with nutrition because there's just too much outside influence that can get in if you've never done something as strict as a bodybuilding competition diet. There's a lot of things that can infiltrate. You start to realize, and I'll hit on a few topics I know you rookies will understand and you old school bodybuilders will understand, like you notice that every time you start dieting, like you notice every commercial you never noticed for food. Like you'll be driving down the road, you'll notice every billboard, you'll notice the power and the influence of advertising and marketing bad food in this country. It's absolutely horrendous. Bean burritos, that's her weakness.
I don't even like bean burritos, but anytime I'm like strict dieting, I want that bean burrito. But you see it. You'll start to even see, like, watch, Taco Bell's going to put up an ad now about a bean burrito on our video.
I know, but you know, all that to say, like these guys have to have a place to anchor themselves.
Yeah.
You know, and a place to compare and contrast, like what their notes are doing, what they're doing, what they're not doing, what they're struggling with. And we noticed that every single one of the guys in the group struggle with the exact same things. So it's not like there's no surprises, I guess is what I'm saying. It's like you're going to struggle with the same things that you struggle with now. I'm just going to give you better tools to deal with it and hopefully a clearer vision on what you're really looking at. Because most people, let's be honest, you guys don't even notice the difference in your pictures after 30 pounds, some of you. Like,
absolutely.
Am I lying? Like, how many times have I had clients and I'm like, dude, you're killing it. They're like, I can't see it.
Yeah.
And then you tell them to put their beginning pictures 4 to 6 weeks ago next to these pictures.
And it's insane.
And it's insane how much they've, you know, and then they go, oh, I didn't even, oh my God. Well, yeah, like.
But that's, I think, the nice thing, too, with this Death to Dad Bods thing is that a lot of times when you're kind of doing this on your own, right? Like, I could look up bikini girl diet, right? And I could see, okay, I'm going to eat this diet and I'm going to do it. And then I might sit and think, man, like, am I doing this right? I feel like I'm not seeing results. I feel like I'm not anything. And I'm kind of out there on my own. Where with you, the nice thing is number one, you're not going to give them some, you can look up on Google, you know, here's this diet that's one size fits all. But also when they feel stuck or they feel discouraged, they can come to you and be like, Gabe, like, I feel like I'm, you know, not losing any weight, or I feel like XYZ, can you help me? And it's like, you're that kind of guiding light, right, that helps them, which I think is so beneficial.
It is. It's, you know, being a North Star is what I call it. Like Chris Aceto was my North Star, Justin Compton. Like these guys were, because they're 100% confident in what they do. They know what they're doing.
Yeah.
And if my body starts to make a turn that, you know, was not anticipated by me, like they'll know exactly what to do, and I'm the same thing. Like if I'm in control and you're just executing the variables, then I know exactly what to do to upright the ship, so to speak.
Yeah.
So that's another thing is I constantly try to put into my clients' heads and their hearts that I don't panic.
Yeah.
I have no reason to panic. I know exactly what I'm doing, and as long as you're executing and giving me good feedback regularly, there should be no reason why we can't get you to destination. But you know, a lot of these guys, like I said, they all struggle with the same thing. I think they were all kind of fascinated and surprised that they all had the same issue.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, whereas me, I anticipated that. I was like, yeah, because there's nothing outside the normal struggles that you know that would hinder somebody. It's literally making your mind up and then executing. But if you don't have a map and compass, where do I start? You hire somebody. You hire somebody like me. Or you hire, you know, somebody that you trust that, you know, is maybe of inspiration to you that you want to look like. Now, make sure you check their pedigree and their background, because not everybody's qualified just because they have a good physique. That's 100% true. I found that out. But in my case, I mean, this is all I've done my whole life is body transformation, bodybuilding, and helping others. So with the Death to Dad Bod series, I just thought it was great to be able to focus on a group of people that I feel like men were being targeted, and we're creating a lot of soft men these days, and women of the worldly nature, not of the godly biblical nature, are kind of cheering on this disposition, is what I would call it, because it's really what it is. There's no way that we should have our men walking around soft and proud. Like, that's just bullshit. I'll just say it. Bullshit. If you can't do a chin up, if you can't do a push up, if you can't do something like that, it's time to make a change, guys. Like this.
Or a lunge.
Or a lunge. My God, it's so. Oh, it's weird, right? Like, how many people can't do a lunge? How many people can't sit without plopping in their seats? Isn't that? I mean, it's bonkers to me. Like, I can't believe it. But I'm also so far removed from this real world, I guess you could call it, or the natural world. Is like I'm so removed from it because I've been doing this for so long that it's just really hard for me to believe. But when I do get those people, I know how to regress the training, and I know how to, improve the training. I know how to, I know how to do all those things. But I would prefer to just work with the men out there that are looking to make a drastic, permanent lifestyle change.
Well, and it doesn't even have to be drastic in the sense of like you have a ton of body fat and you need to get shredded,
drastic
right?
in their mindset.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely, anything, right?
Yeah, because the
discipline. I mean, it's just the way that when you're making yourself eat 5 to 6 times a day, right, and you're staying on this regimen, it changes everything that you do, and it creates this new discipline. So even for people that maybe just need to lose a little bit of weight or gain a little bit of muscle.
I think all that to say, like, we don't expect you to not struggle.
Yeah.
Like, we don't expect you to not struggle, but we do have the tools to help you upright it if you do, and you're not going to go through anything that I haven't heard before as far as the nutrition and the training goes. Like, you're not going to be experiencing anything that I haven't seen before. So, like, really, like, at the end of the day, it's just a decision, really. It's a financial decision. It's a mental and emotional decision. But once you've got all those in a row and you're definitively, you know what you want to do, call me.
Yep.
Like, I'm ready to work when you are.
Call me, beat me. Did you ever watch that show, Kim Possible?
No.
Okay.
No. What was that?
A show.
A show? On what?
A superhero show, I think.
Okay.
Okay, before we sign out, because we're at like an hour now, do you have like a dad joke or maybe a wives' tale? Because we're on Death to Dad Bods. Because, I mean, I always got good ones, but you got to have a good joke. Come on.
A good joke?
Yeah, a good dad joke.
Oh, man. I'm not good at that.
Oh, man,
I don't
babe.
have any dad jokes.
Okay, well, I'll tell you guys a wives' tale because those are just so good too, right? So, if you have hiccups.
Oh, my God. This is not true.
It is true. If you have hiccups, drink pickle juice and they will go away instantly. And if it does, you need to hit Gabe up and tell him it's true because it works for me.
I encourage you to fact check that before.
Fact check, yes.
All right, our battery's about ready to die, so I want to sign off saying, I love you.
I love you.
Thanks for doing this podcast. We're going to try to do more of these. We've had a lot of people ask us to do these, so we're going to probably continue to do these.
Yeah.
What are we going to call this one? Something with the Mecca. No.
Oh, okay. The actual
Moving the
title.
Mecca.
Moving the Mecca. That's a pretty good one. I
We're
like
moving
it.
the Mecca. That's the
I
title
like
of
to
this one.
move it, move it.
You like to move it. I like to.
Move it.
All right, that's enough. Okay, thanks, guys. Thanks for joining us on our very first podcast here on Gabe Moen's YouTube channel, and this one's called Moving the Mecca.
Moving the Mecca.
That's the latest, guys. That's the gossip.
Bye.
Have a good one. Peace.